first. Esham was one of the first. We met with Esham, and he was selling records out of his trunk before Master P was. And Esham's brother actually was a financial backer for Esham. Esham was actually the artist. Esham is probably, he's still eating off his CDs. A lot of people say, Master P, yada, 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 and shots go out to Master P, of course. But Esham was really one of the first. He's the godfather to, people forget about Awesome Dre and the Hardcore Committee. Everybody, Eminem, they all, Royce the 5'9", they all have to pay homage to Esham. He was the forefather of that whole, that whole generation, that whole spark. He inspired us.
Yeah. Shout out Source Magazine from 1999 because I have an issue. This is where Jay-Z was on the cover. It was like going into the, this was like 99 before the millennium hit. And they actually did a story with Esham. And they talked about how, big he was. And he was like, there's rappers and then there's legends and then there's Esham, because they always break it down into semicolons, commas in terms of trying to give a further illustration of how legendary this man's legacy is. And they was like, and they said there's legends and there's Esham. Then they put the Insane Clown Posse used to open for him. So this guy, this guy was like really, really, really made out there in terms of, of course, albums like Male Dominance, of course, Natta's Nation Ahead of Time and Space. Yes, we're very familiar with him. Yeah.
Yes. And not to mention that Esham, from what I heard too, he was the first to put out a double album.
Well, not only was he the first, Esham really saw ahead. See, the thing with Esham was this. If he didn't have the money, the streets backed him. I mean, he could go into any dope house if he needed to get cash or anywhere he needed. People was like, stay out of trouble, man. Here's this, here's that. But Esham really, really was just a pioneer of people wanted to see him succeed. And, meeting him was probably one of the high points of our music, of our music career. That was from a boss standpoint. You see Rick Ross these days. These are bosses. Don't get me wrong. But you see how they diversified into other things, like Rick Ross with Wingstop and all the other ventures. We didn't have those opportunities as readily available as they do now. So you see a lot of it now with brand placement and things of that nature. We didn't have that, so we had to carve it out of the mud. Well, now it's, look at Kanye. Kanye right now, he's built Yeezys off of his music. But he's in a slave contract. Believe me, he's in a slave contract with the music. But the music, that's why he went to gospel. The music does nothing more, is the gateway to numbers for the internet. That's really the backstory of it.
Yeah, and